support group.
Your support group.
Welcome to another episode of Your Support Group, America's most favorite social cultural podcast. You are with your hosts, Kenny and Q.
What's going on?
I had to spice it up a little bit. I had to throw them off. They don't know what even hit them just now. But speaking of things that hit you, today I want to talk about Father's Day. Everything that Why you laugh? Why you laugh?
Speaking of things that hit you.
Hey, look, Father's Day does hit you. Father's Day does hit you. For me, I always wonder why you always have like the great Mother's Day sales, but never like the great Father's Day sales. Like it's like about 10 stores that do like a great Mother's Day sale, but Father's Day sale, oh, you get 10% off. But Mother's Day,
Yeah.
50% off. So
Yeah.
they gotta start loving the fathers about here because I mean we're a dying breed. I mean, now with, they can do the little things up in the factories and make the babies. So, I mean, we need
I
some
always
love
wondered
too.
that too. Like for Mother's Day, when I used to work at Woolworths, they used to be up in there. Like that was one of our biggest days for sales. And then Father's Day come around, it was like tumbleweed rolling through and nobody, like a few people would come through and it was just sad. Just sad. Like, oh my God, nobody
You
cares
see how they
about,
do us, fellas?
nobody cares about the dads.
No. I mean, we don't even get the good greeting cards. Like the Mother's Day cards, they be pop out and they be big and with roses on the front of them and all kinds of mess. We get like oh dad, I would have bought you something nice, but this is all the money you gave me type cards. Like what is
Right.
this mess? Like can we get like the good cards?
Right. I agree. We could do better for Father's Day with recognition because there's some great fathers out there. Just because
And
some of us had bad ones does not mean that is the norm. There's a lot of good dads out there holding it down.
right. That's true. But I mean, even those without fathers, the mothers stepped in and did an excellent job for a lot of us out here who just was raised by a single parent, even though you probably had that uncle or that cousin that helped to put that manhood into you, and give them their credit where credit is due too, because they helped to make you a man. So that's a Father's Day award within itself. But I mean, you got to factor in the fact that, some mothers had to play both roles. So therefore, that's why we get stepped on.
Right.
But I want to talk about a little bit of the history of Father's Day. And it's kind of some weird history because, Father's Day is not really a worldwide thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So some countries celebrate it. Some countries don't. It's not a whole lot of them that do. So yes, Father's Day as we know it in this country is not celebrated in other countries. For example, you got places like Bangladesh that celebrates it differently. China celebrates it differently. India celebrates it differently. And some countries don't even celebrate it on the day that we celebrate it on. Like you take something like Mozambique, someplace like Mozambique, get back in focus. Someplace like Mozambique, they celebrate Father's Day March 19th. So, I mean, everybody's getting ready for the cookout, but your homeboy might be from Mozambique. He like, what is it Father's Day today?
Right.
Father's Day is not today. Yeah. And Father's Day is something relatively new too, because Father's Day wasn't around technically before the 1900s. It came about as something else from the Catholic Church. We already know how that rolls with holidays in the Catholic Church. Around about the 1500s, it kind of changed hands and moved around and went from St. Joseph's Day in the Middle Ages to something very close and similar to what we have now. Once the Spanish got a hold of it, it became a party. It became a party, became a celebration, and then they just moved it into overtime into a national holiday. And in the United States, it became a national holiday in 1909. So once you factor that in, a lot of this stuff is new. I mean, no wonder why fathers get treated the way that we do. It's because this is new. See, mothers been getting they just do. Fathers, it's new. It's something that y'all got to get used to. But yeah, they just use it for a basic holiday until Calvin Coolidge got a hold of it and basically made it a holiday. So yeah, that's what fathers get. We get messed up holidays explained by Kenny that just don't make any sense. He was everywhere with it, and that's the way Father's Day goes. Just everywhere, everything's all messed up. Kenny talking about it don't make any sense. I know it'll make sense to you one day, though. A father is a great thing. Yeah. So, Q, what's your experience with the dads?
So it's always like a weird subject for me because, like, I didn't grow up with my biological father. He was one of those people that I will say, due to the court system, he got unfairly sentenced like way longer than what he should have for something he did. Now, he wasn't supposed to be doing it, but I don't feel like they should have sentenced him as long as they did. But what I do remember of him when I was a little girl, like he would come and get us, take us to his mom's house where they lived in the country, and we would spend the summers with him. And he took care of us. But then he went away, and then my mom met another guy, and they weren't married, but they were kind of like common law. And he was a good father to us. He cooked, he cleaned, he made sure that we got to school. He was a hardworking man. We knew his parents. They were like our grandparents, and his sisters were like our aunts. So he was, in essence, a father figure to us growing up. And like I said, he was top notch. One of the best guys that I knew. And besides him, a great uncle that was also a great father figure. My paran, that's what we call Godfather. He was another great father figure because he would come get me in the summer, and we would go spend time on the farm and out there in Louisiana with cornfields and fig trees and tomatoes, and we would, had a good time. So even though I didn't grow up with my biological father, I still have good, fond memories of father figures. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. For me, I think I want to start out with my dad. My dad, and this is the person that I probably get most of my personality from. My dad is Mr. Personality. My mom was more of a shy, laid back person, but my dad is Mr. Personality. So some of the funny things and some of the quirky things that I do, I got from him. And he was a main part of my life until, for lack of better words, another woman came into his life. And that woman wasn't an actual person. Yeah. So, and then he was locked up from like when I was 7, off and on, all the way to like my mid-20s. So during that time frame, my mom met my stepfather. She had a couple of other dudes that didn't mount up or man up to the job. But my stepfather, he's the reason why we live down south. He brought us down south, married my mom. My dad and mom was never married, but he married my mom, uh, took me from out of the books and being all artsy craftsy and stuff like that, and taught me how to cut grass and just things to be a man, and that was, so I always tell people, I got two dads. Even though, me and my biological, I hadn't seen my dad in like 30 something years. And when he had got out, he had cleaned his life up and stuff like that. He wanted to come down and see me, so I mean, that was a big thing. And he came down when I was 36. And yes, I'm dating myself. Um, he came down when I was 36 and we kicked it, and we've been kicking it ever since. Like I told him, at this time I'm grown. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's really nothing that, you could tell me as a man, but I can always use a really good friend.
Hmm. Yeah.
And my daughters need a grandpa. They still got other grandpa though. I mean, so you can still get into their lives and stuff. So, he agrees with that, and we chat and everything, and I keep up with his life, and he keeps up my life. So it's not like we ever skip a beat. Now, when it comes to external dads, I gotta say my Uncle Ty. And so it was a time, I would say, uh, that he was like the closest person that I could get to a dad that really felt like I understood. Because when you have a stepdad, it's always a little bit of a lag in understanding between you two.
Hmm.
For some people, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm going to deal with this. We gonna get along, but no, for me and my stepdad, we clashed, and for that time period, it was me and my Uncle Ty, and until this day, I kind of look at my Uncle Ty as like that backup father figure, like that one. If this one and this one, I got Uncle Ty,
Yeah.
so Uncle Ty has always been that person, and special heavenly shout out to my grandpa too, but my Uncle Ty has always been like that person consistently in my life as a father figure. And actually, he's basically just like me with three daughters. So, well, basically, I'm just like him with three
Right.
daughters. Let me correct that. And so, yeah, my dad always says, you sound just like my brother. Every time y'all talk, y'all sound just alike. And it's partially because part of me came from him, So, always special shout out to my Uncle Ty. I always try to call him on Father's Day, even though he probably don't understand why, and
Yeah.
neither do I. But until like now that I'm actually saying it, like, dag, dude, like you was that dude for a
Right.
good majority of my life. Like you was the most consistent person as far as a
Hmm.
father figure that I knew. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. It's always good to have like that guy you can go to, because I feel like we need to get back to that old way of looking at raising our communities, because it takes a village.
It
And even
does.
you know, if I wasn't married, I would hope that if one guy, like a father in this area, saw my kids doing something crazy, they would say, hey, your mom wouldn't want you doing that. When I used to live up in North Carolina, my son did something really crazy. And the guy that lived across the street, he came and he said, hey, I just want to let you know, I saw your son. He was just learning how to drive a car. He backed into one of the other neighbors' car, and my son tried to act like he ain't do it. He said, I saw your son, and he was like, you need to talk to him. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to talk to him about that. I said, now you're wrong for that. But it's kind of like that thing, like, let's get back to that. And I hate when, you try to correct people like
Right.
kids, and then the parent is just like, you don't tell my kid nothing. It's like, nah, we need to get back to that village mentality.
Yeah, because I remember growing up, like hearing a million times before I could make it down Myrtle Avenue in New Jersey. Oh, you Miss Johnson grandson. Yeah, go sit down up over there. Like what I do? What I do? So like it does take a village, you know. Nowadays I try to do it cordially when it comes to other people kids. Like, hey, young fella, like, don't
Right.
do that. That's not nice. That's not
Yeah.
cool. Say it with a smile instead of a stern voice. Um, and I don't get too upset when somebody tries to correct one of my kids, long
Hmm.
as it's within line. Don't come
Yeah.
to my kid cussing them out, talking about something. Hey, you me 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 me. No, listen. These are children. They're going to mirror stuff. Like the other day, I was driving down the street. Bad dad move. That's all I'm going to say. I said a bad word, and that
Uh-huh.
word was repeated at least 20 times.
Oh yeah.
So I was
Not
like,
a
don't say that.
baby.
That's a bad word. But you said it, that's
Right.
the thought. That's the mentality. So yeah, definitely just be mindful of what you say to these kids. But they can and they need to be corrected because some of them are doing some crazy stuff. It may not be backing into other people's car. It may be uh trying to steal or anything like that. So I mean, being a father in the community just doesn't entail your children. It entails other kids too. Because like I said to somebody the other day, I'll live and die for my kids. But if I see somebody else's kid in danger, my natural instinct as a dad is going to kick in to try to save them or try to help them. I'm not going to leave somebody kid stranded because I wouldn't want somebody to do that to my kid.
Right. Yeah. Shout out to all the wonderful dads out there that really hold it down. And some of these dads out here doing it by themselves too. Like we give
Yeah.
a lot of praise to single moms, but there's some dads out there that are like, nah, let me have my son, let me have my daughter because I don't know what you got going on over there, but they gonna come with me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they doing it.
I got a cousin who has custody of his kids. He fought. That's what he wanted. He felt like they wasn't being treated properly, so he fought and got custody of his kids. And I told him I'm very proud of him. And he said, I listened to what you said about your kids many years ago and how you would fight and you would do this, and if it was anything you could change, how you would do it. And so he took what I had said many years ago and played it out for me. And I was like, dude, you was listening to me? Like, I didn't think he was listening to me, but I applaud you. Um, and shout out to, the stay-at-home dads. There's a lot of stay-at-home dads now. Um, it's it's frowned upon to be a stay-at-home dad, but you're just as important as would have been a stay-at-home mom. So, it 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 literally takes a village. It doesn't matter who's nowadays, especially. It doesn't matter who's bringing home the bacon, as long as it's getting cooked.
Right. And that's what I said because even way back when I was in the military, because I was the veteran, but my husband was the spouse. But I knew another young lady; she was the veteran. Her husband was the spouse, and that man he made cupcakes. He was at every sit-in with the kindergartners. I mean, he held it down, and he made some good cupcakes too. So shout out to him. That was
Whoever
homemade.
you are, we're gonna find you and buy some cupcakes from you. Okay?
You know what I'm
You'll
saying? And
yeah.
it's like we have to really too, as a society, get rid of these gender assignments and saying, "Oh, the man has to do this and the woman has to do this." Whatever works for your family, that is what your family needs.
Right.
So
Right.
let's stop that.
Whatever works for y'all and
Mhm.
y'all happy about it, do
Exactly.
it. Eliminate those because like I tell my daughter all the time, just because I'm the man of the house doesn't mean you can't take out the trash. So
Yeah, right. Look,
You better get down there to that dumpster.
I have cut grass. I have helped my husband build a shed. I will go outside and help my husband shovel snow. My husband knows how to cook. My husband can mop a floor. He mops it better than me. I don't let him wash the clothes though because certain things that like don't touch my. But anyway, but we work together. It's like what you got? I got okay. We working together. Sometimes he catch my slack and sometimes I catch his, and that's how a
Right.
family should be. Whatever works for the household, get it done. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
I have no problems
It's a
with taking
team.
out the trash. And my daughter takes out
Right.
trash and my son takes out trash and they both wash dishes. There is no, oh, that's a girl chore, that's a boy chore. It's who left these dishes over here? Bust these suds right now.
Bust these suds, little cuz.
Exactly. Load the dishwasher.
Who you playing with?
Something. You know what I mean? Like let's stop the foolishness. Exactly. So shout out all the great dads. My husband is a great father. I met him. He had a kid. Then we got married. And he stepped in. Let me just say that too. My husband, the one I'm married to now, because I was married previously, I had 2 children. At the time we met, my daughter was 13 and my son was 11. He stepped in. I was in the process of trying to get child support from the ex, and he was like, "Don't even worry about it. Like, I got this." And I was like, "You got it? Okay, well, I'll let it go." And
now that's what we're talking
and he
about.
had it. He bought my daughter a car. Then when my son got older, we gave him the car that we weren't driving. But he's just been there. You know what I mean? So there's some good men out there that's doing it up. So we want to give proper credit when it's due. So
Amen.
And happy Father's Day to you too.
Thank you. Even though I probably get a BS card and some old rusty ass socks. Oops, excuse my French. But yeah. Look, I love socks. Don't front. Because I know that it's a lot of women out there who wear their man's socks. And for me, my socks are being worn by my wife and my daughter. So I got a 16-year-old that's running through my socks, and I got a wife that's running through my socks. And then mysteriously, all my socks ends up with holes in them. Like, I don't understand. Because y'all want to dance and pirouette and toenails and everything like that. Listen, stay out your man's socks. All right? And remember to tell him Happy Father's Day.
That's right. And stay out of his jogging pants too, but I don't know. But I heard there's a lot of women that like to wear the boxers too. I don't understand what's going on with that.
I don't wear boxers, but I don't know nothing about that. But I do know my shirts end up without sleeves on them.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. But if nobody told you today that they love you, we do. So I want y'all to go. Before y'all go, check out www.ysgpodcast.com, where you got all the links that you need. You can listen to the audio version of this podcast. You can see the video version of this podcast. Look, we even got Q shirts. We got Q books. We got my shirts. I ain't got no books, but we got blogs. All right. Y'all have a safe week, and we'll talk to you soon. Yes, support group.